And we are live. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my live stream. My name is Tyler. I have a special treat for you and for me. I'm here with Ben Eriksson, aka the one and only CMNatic from the TryHackMe team. Yo, Ben, welcome to the live stream, my friend.
Yeah, thank you, Tyler. It's awesome to be here. Been watching your streams, and yeah, I really appreciate you having me on.
Dude, I'm pumped. And this is one of the first times we've chatted well, it is not one of the first time we've chatted outside of Discord chat. So we chatted a little 5 minutes before we started, but super fun to actually meet you over video, but good to have you here. And I do want to say for those of you joining me live, I don't have a good way to monitor my audio. I am a one-trick pony managing the stream, doing the interview, and all that good stuff. So for those of you joining me live, let me know if anything sounds off. So far, no one's saying anything sounds off. And it looks like we're at a little over 80 people across the 3 different platforms, at least starting out. So huge thank you to all of you joining us for the live stream. Before we dive into things, a few things. Number one, we're going to be doing some giveaways live on stream. Usually I wait till the stream's over to do these, but we're going to do it live. So what we are giving away in partnership with TryHackMe is 6 1-month subscriptions to TryHackMe, 1 3-month subscription to TryHackMe, and the grand prize is 1 1-year subscription to TryHackMe. I'll be opening up a form later on, and we will do that drawing at the end of the stream. Only those who are here for the live stream will be eligible for that. So hey, your chances are good because you're here at least in the middle of the workday if you live in the States. And once again, good to have you here. All right, I think that's everything I have by way of introduction. Everyone in chat is saying audio sounds good. Oh, last thing, for those of you in chat, hey, happy to take your questions as well. So if you have questions for Ben, drop them in the chat. I will do my best to monitor chat on LinkedIn, Twitch, and YouTube as we go. So if you do have questions for him, drop them in chat, and we will go from there. But yo, Ben, let's just begin with the classic elevator question. A lot of people know who you are, or maybe they've seen your name on TryHackMe, but they don't know the person behind the name, CMNatic. So who are you? Classic elevator question. You have a few minutes to introduce yourself. Who is Ben Eriksson?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I'm Ben. I'm 24, based in the UK. I have a very keen passion for cybersecurity, specifically machine learning, malware analysis, incident response, things like that. I spend a lot of time studying, so I have a bachelor's and a master's in cybersecurity. And outside of cybersecurity, I try and keep myself busy by a lot of volunteering in the medical field. So things like that keeps me busy. And yeah, I DJ. Well, some might call it a bedroom DJ, but that's how it is. Maybe I'll get a festival one day. We'll see. Watch your space. But yeah, I love learning new things, and music is very big. Very big interested in. I listen to all sorts, and yeah, just I don't know, keep myself busy. And I look at the clock and it's like 9 in the morning, and I look again and it's like 10 at night, and something happened in between there.
Or 3 in the morning. Like I know when I stream, sometimes I see you on there. I'm like, dude, it's 3 or 4 in the morning. Go to bed.
Yeah. My brain says that as well, but I can be a bit of a night owl. Yeah, it's I especially I think when I'm working on like big projects and things that I need to focus on. I don't know why, but I just kind of seem to synchronize better with nighttime. Um, Maybe that says more about me than anything, but yeah, it's been pretty fun, catching you on your streams. But I mostly catch up on VODs because 3 a.m. I'm 24. I can't do 3 a.m. anywhere like I used to when I was 18 years old. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Amazing, dude. And like all good hackers, all good creators, you do have a hacker handle. You're known to many people, not as Ben, but as CMNatic. And hopefully I'm saying that right. First, is that how you pronounce the name, CMNatic?
Yeah. So
What's the
that's
meaning? Like, where'd you
usually
get that
some
name
of.
from?
So when I was younger, before I headed into cybersecurity, I actually wanted to start a YouTube channel, stroke like little like side business, getting involved in cinematography.
Oh,
So
cool.
like when when the whole drone thing was exploding, basically, DJI and aerial shots and using drones. I wanted to get into that. I found it very interesting. So my name was actually just cinematic, the words. kind of shortened, and it's just one of those things that have kind of stuck with me. It's yeah.
Dude, that's a cool name. So you started out with, I can't even say the word cinematography there. I think I said it there. And kind of YouTube, video creation, drones. But now you're in cybersecurity. And the cool thing about cybersecurity is like people from all different paths end up here. But what's your journey like? How did you end up in cyber out of all fields? Any key people, key books, key resources that you would share with the rest of us?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the UK, we have a scheme called apprenticeships, and it's essentially a way that you can learn on the job while getting qualifications when you finish school. So here, when you finish school at 16, you have to do 2 years of something. So that's either like an apprenticeship when you're learning on a job, earning money, getting real experience and qualifications, or that's going to what's called like A levels, which kind of gear you up towards university. So for me, it was an apprenticeship. I actually applied for a job at the school that I went to when I finished my exams and stuff. I applied for a job there. I thought, hey, why not give it a try? After a few failed interviews, well, I wouldn't call them failures because it was some of my first ever interviews.
You only
And
fail
I
if you
mean,
don't learn, right? I'm sure you learned
yeah,
something. Yeah.
I learned tons by going to them. So I applied to a local hospital here for like an IT engineer sort of thing. Turned up in my dad's suit that he like let me borrow for the day for it.
Beautiful.
And I mean, I got absolutely rinsed in the interview. I didn't know what was going on, but it was really constructive. The interview at the end gave me some really good feedback, and I was like, you know what? Okay, I can apply this, and I can actually sell myself. Right? I think that's a big part of interviews is selling yourself as well. So yeah, I applied to the school to work. To work at the school that I actually graduated from. Applied for a job that was too high in terms of like skills and things, but they liked me and you know th I had good grades from that school, so they said, hey, why don't you come on as an apprentice, which is the apprenticeship program, as a sysadmin, so an apprentice sysadmin, which was really interesting. I learned honestly so many different skills from that. It was one of those places where, yes, I was a sysadmin, but we were basically just IT, right? And that was IT from fixing desktops to printers to configuring network devices, managing servers for like 6,000 people and all sorts. I mean, I learned a lot there, and while I was there, we had some, I guess, cybersecurity scares. And at the time, I didn't really know what was going on. I looked at it and I thought, you know, why not actually learn what these are, right? I mean, it's all good kind of having to respond to things and protect your systems against hackers. But what is a hacker, right? I mean, I was 16 at the time, kind of, that was that sort of mindset I had. So I looked into cybersecurity and started learning on like YouTube and like Over the Wire. That has a classic place in my heart, Over the Wire. And yeah, just learning like what a hacker is and what they actually do, right? And then that helped me in my job as an apprentice, saying, "Hey, I've noticed this like vulnerability or insecure thing. You know, it puts us at this risk, right?" And yeah, that was some of my most foundational years. And then I thought, hey, I want to go in and do this full time. So I went to university, done my bachelor's in cybersecurity for 3 years. That was really fun, moving out for the first time, away from parents, right? Uh, Young adult stuff, partying, stuff like that. And then, yeah, just fell in love with it, really. Cybersecurity has been my passion for a good few years.
That is amazing, dude. Thank you for sharing all that. And I do want to throw a question to you from the audience. YN, because I think it goes well with you talking about interviews and kind of your own journey. So YN asked this over on YouTube. What advice would you have for a 30-year-old newbie trying to get into hacking coming from the golf industry, so no tech background? Which I think that person's story fits a lot of people's story trying to pivot into IT. So from
Mm.
your own experience in IT, as well as being a content engineer at TryHackMe, what advice would you offer them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, cybersecurity is definitely something that everyone can get into, and I really encourage it as well. Don't be disheartened by it. it is a difficult field, but putting the time, effort, work, 100%. I think a lot of things that maybe get glossed over is, the importance of soft skills. And this is something that was really useful to me, at least in like sort of doing help desk and things, was, customer service and having those interpersonal skills, or maybe not even just that, but like time management and being able to deal with your workload, having responsibilities, even if it's not technically, like IT related, there's a lot of transferable skills in other fields, golfing, teaching, all sorts of stuff, construction, you know, there's a lot of interpersonal skills that you can develop and sell yourself on. Uh, and then with that, to help boost your CV, I think looking at doing some hobby projects. I mean, I'm a big advocate for doing things like home labs. At least for me as a content engineer, that also really helped. Was if I had an evening spare, I'd spin up a few VMs, develop a lab, install some software that I'm not too sure about, play around with Microsoft Exchange or some Windows Server stuff. Right? It's really useful, and if you can demonstrate that you're willing to learn just not outside of the job, then yeah, I think that really helps as well.
Yeah, excellent stuff. And let's talk about one of the best resources, which is TryHackMe. My own story is I transitioned from being a pastor. So I was in the church world for about 10 years before I transitioned to IT. And I was, 27. Maybe when I landed my first IT job, I'm 30 now. So I haven't been in IT long, but I social engineered myself into a pen testing role, which is where I'm at now. But TryHackMe is a big part of my own journey. I do have a bachelor's in cybersecurity, but even with that, as you would know, cybersecurity is such a massive field that I think I had like one class on like offensive security, and it was like, hey, run an in-map scan and find some CVEs. Like, kind of real world, but really not. And I almost everything I know came from the TryHackMe platform. So how did you get connected with TryHackMe? Because you've been there like almost from the beginning. Share with us your TryHackMe story.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wish things like TryHackMe and Hack the Box and things like that were around when I started. Now's a really great time to get, to break into cybersecurity. But yeah, so I joined TryHackMe in 2019 as a user. I signed up to the platform. I heard it through a friend at university. I thought, okay, well, I'll have a look. It was very different back then. Even just the website itself was very different. And yeah, done some rooms, signed on for the first Advent of
Hold up.
Cyber
Let me
ever.
pause you there. You said you've done some rooms. How many have you created now? Is it over 90? Let's just get that out there.
Oh yeah, so but when I say done some rooms, I mean like as in,
Oh, you
completed
completed
them
some.
as
I
a
got you.
user.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me pass the mic back to you. Here's the mic.
Yeah, cheers. But yeah, I'm sure we'll come on to like the whole room creation a bit later. But yeah, so yeah, done some rooms as a user, quite enjoyed it. Done the first Advent of Cyber, and I thought, hey, I like what they're doing here. I can, it looks like you can create your own rooms and spread the knowledge. Pay back a little bit to the community that taught me and try hack me. So I created my first room. It's still up there if anyone can find it,
What is
but
it? What's it about?
it's
What's the subject, anyways?
so the first one was about Jupyter notebooks. So it's about data science and things like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I've come on a long way since then, but it's definitely still up there. And then my first CTF, Tony the Tiger, which was a Java deserialization attack as well, which was actually quite fun.
Amazing.
And yeah, then started developing some more specific rooms that weren't on there at the time, so like malware analysis, so teaching some malware analysis. Then the co-founders reached out to me on Discord and they said, "Hey, well, I'm kind of abbreviating here, but hey, we like what you do. Would you be willing to create some rooms for us on like a commission, like contract basis?" And me at uni, in between like bar jobs and
Yeah.
stacking shelves and things, I was like, hell yeah, I get to work like without stacking shelves. All right, I'll do
Amazing.
it.
Yeah.
So yeah, just built rooms. They would give me a brief. They say, "Oh, we're looking for rooms on this." I'll go, "Yeah, okay." Deliver them. That was for about 6, 7 months in 2020, and then I finished university, graduated, and I said to them, "Oh, well," they basically said to me, "Hey, we know you're graduating. Do you want to come do this full time?" So, I mean, just out of university, I said absolutely yes, 100%. And yeah, been full time pretty much since ever since then, all that time ago, and it's been really fun.
That is awesome. And one principle I want to pull out of your story that I think would be helpful to a lot of people is the reason you got your role at TryHackMe is you just started by giving back to the community. And that's one of the
Mm.
questions people have, like, how do I network? How do I, without it being like this generic, hey, sending random LinkedIn messages to people, which doesn't work. How do I build community? Well, you build community by giving back to the InfoSec community. And at least from my own experience as well, as you give back freely, opportunities will come as long as you're doing excellent work as you're giving back. So just pulling that principle out, universal principle. If you want to grow in your career, don't begin by asking other people, like, what can I get out of you? But just begin giving back and make some really cool organic connections that way. But you've been at TryHackMe now for 4 years, if I know how to do math. What has it been like from when you started 4 years ago to where TryHackMe is now? What has been some of the growth? Like, I don't even know how many
Yeah.
employees TryHackMe has, but just give us a glimpse behind the curtain of 2020 to 2024 in the TryHackMe universe as an employee.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind, I think I'd probably say. But really good to be able to ride the wave, as it were. Back when I started, it was me, the co-founders, and one other content engineer, who
So
beat
four
me
of you.
by being yeah. So
That's
four of us,
crazy.
that was it. I mean, we were full time before the co-founders were, which was crazy. And back then, it was kind of like a wild, well, no, maybe Wild West is a bit of a strong word for it, but it was obviously like brand new. We didn't have much like organization as we do now. As from a content engineer, we would just kind of develop rooms based on what we think was like missing or based on our skills and things. And then over the years, there's been a lot more structure, organization. I mean, I think we're currently at about like 100 people in TryHackMe,
That's amazing.
which is it's been crazy, right? And seeing all these teams develop and departments, like we have software team now, and back then I used to kind of wear many hats. I've done a bit of support, I've done a bit of content engineering, done a bit like software here and there, uh, QA as well. I was kind of involved in back then. But now these days, we have departments, we have teams, and yeah, there's a lot of velocity. It's really exciting. We we say we're going to do something, and we have the resources to do it. I mean, what's not to love about that, right?
Yeah, that is so cool. So at TryHackMe from the beginning, making room, seeing all these different departments form. Were there any just growing pains for you personally? Kind of this is your first like big full-time job out of university, and you started at what would have been very much a startup organization, which has pros to it. It has cons as well, where you have to do everything. But as an organization grows, there's also pros and cons. A pro is you have departments that can handle some of that stuff, but the con is, hey, now you have to follow some of these structures. So maybe just speak for someone who is in a startup organization watching it grow. Do you have any advice that you learned along the way?
Yeah, I think you make a really good point. It's my first like big boy job right out of university, and it's quite an interesting one to land into, especially like as from the start of a startup like
Yeah.
organization. I think the thing for me was at the end of the day, I would just say go with the flow. It's gonna change a lot, and it does change a lot. You have to be flexible. You have to you know what you were doing maybe 2 months ago might not be what you're doing now because teams have developed since then and they can offload some of that work from you, which is a nice positive as well. So yeah, I think ultimately stick with it. It's going to change. It's one of those things, but also just be vocal about it as well. You're going to get a manager and things like that. And I think for me it was kind of one of those. I didn't want to be, oh, this was, I like try hack me for how it was before, right? I mean, obviously,
Hmm.
we have like processes, content engineering is nowhere near as free roam, I suppose. These days, we have internal reviews and planning and structures that we follow for it, which I think absolutely benefits the content itself. It helps develop a much higher quality product and, training course, and you have the benefit of colleagues peer reviewing your work. But yeah, I think especially seeing it grow over the time, it's just kind of, yeah, again, go with the flow and embrace it.
That's excellent advice. And the cool thing about TryHackMe, like many companies, well, other companies have embraced it post-COVID now, but TryHackMe is fully remote. So you have 100 employees spread across the globe. What has TryHackMe done to, like, although it's a fully remote team, I know culture is still a big goal at TryHackMe. So what does TryHackMe do as a company that helps you get to know other people at TryHackMe and build that culture even in the midst of a remote team?
Yeah, it's definitely it is a little bit of a challenge at times. I would like to perhaps sometimes on a Friday go out for like some drinks or do something social with colleagues, but again, we are fully remote. The the culture is great. I mean, we're really open to collaboration with each other. We speak to each other a lot. That really helps. And I feel like I definitely have some friends here, which is, amazing, right? If you can say that about your colleagues. But every 2 weeks we have a TryHackMe lunch. So TryHackMe will pay for your lunch. You can order it on like one of the delivery apps or whatever, and then you get into a call with people from different departments and different cultures, and you just talk about the world affairs or whatever like the super of the day is, right? So that's really cool. It's honestly it's awesome because you get to hear a lot about different cultures, lots of different experiences, and then we also have the company retreat. So every year, TryHackMe pays for the employees to go out and meet up at like a place. So we've had Malaga recently, then we had Lisbon in Portugal the year
Amazing.
before, and they all pay for it, pay for flights, accommodation. We go out for meals and things, and you get to meet people face to face and things like that. And then we're also, now that the company's gotten bigger, we're arranging local meetups. So, I mean, I had one on last Wednesday where we met up in like a pub in London with a few colleagues, and yeah, it was really great.
That is so cool. And keeping with the TryHackMe conversation, you've started in 2020 making rooms. Was there a moment in this journey where you really realized like the work you were doing was having an impact on other people, a specific room, a specific story that you'd be willing to share with us?
Yeah, it was I think for me, actually, a really defining moment was when I went to do my master's in cybersecurity. I went to one of the lectures and they were using TryHackMe. I was like, oh, this is really cool.
Amazing.
Obviously them not knowing that like I'm staff and things like that. Just I'm just like a regular student. I tried to keep that on the down low as best as I could. Yeah, they were doing TryHackMe, and then like their lectures had my rooms in it, and I was like, wow. I
What?
mean,
Crazy, dude.
maybe that's like stroking my ego a little bit, but I thought that was really cool. Seeing that actually, this has been taught, right, in like curriculums and things like that. And then as well, I think generally speaking, seeing the success stories that we've had from people. I mean, we've had, you know, teachers, we've had construction workers, we've had people from all sorts of backgrounds use TryHackMe to get their first career in cybersecurity. And when I read those, to me, that's like, okay, I'm actually doing something worthwhile here. And that's the sort of thing that sticks with me.
That's amazing. And hey, I just pause this real quick to speak to those of you joining us live. We have about 140 people now, which is amazing. Do want to let you all know we're doing giveaways for a bunch of TryHackMe premium vouchers towards the end of the stream, and we'll be doing the drawings live on stream as well. So feel free to hang around. I do see some questions in chat. I'll try to get to your questions, but a lot of your questions are ones I'm already planning on asking, so I'll try to get to those. But Ben, would love to talk about the room creation process because for me, as a user of TryHackMe, it really took my own learning to the next step when I made my first TryHackMe room, which is recently released called Security. If no one has checked it out, make sure you check it out. But I have other rooms right now in the QA process, and I learned so much from making a room, but I haven't even talked to too many people about making a room. So I'm curious about your own room creation process. You do it all the time. Can you share with us your general thought process? What are some of the things you think through initially? What are some challenges you run into? And just any advice for newbies like me who want to make their first room?
Yeah, absolutely. I think firstly, creating rooms is 100%, something that I really recommend. It's a great learning experience. You use all sorts of skills. I mean, you wear a bit of the blue team hat, you wear a bit of the red team hat, you wear a bit of like sysadmin and like security engineer hat all in one. You're creating the applications that are vulnerable, which ironically is actually harder sometimes to make an application vulnerable than you'd probably think. But yeah, for me, room creation and things like that. So for challenges, I think a really important thing is to have a story or have like a scenario and a flow to it. So I personally like to mind map, I think, what am I trying to teach the user here, right? What do I want them to get out of this room? Maybe it's a specific case of a vulnerability or, demonstrating an application or a certain way of performing an exploit. So that's really useful. Maybe, a really good thing is using like real world hacks as teaching opportunities to say, well, this company used this thing here in this way, here's the vulnerability. Okay, this is like a good learning opportunity to maybe try prevent it in the future, but at least raise some awareness about it. And yeah, I think the challenge is a really big thing. It's just make it, like I said, making a story, making it flow. No one enjoys rabbit holes for the sake of rabbit holes or doing some weird, obscure thing, like steganography. If you can make it real world, fun, engaging, and learning, you're onto a seller right there.
Yeah,
And for
that's huge.
walkthroughs, yeah, yeah, 100%. I mean, I've done CTFs and I've been like, this is just so silly. Like, what am I doing here, right? It's more frustrating than it is like anything actual useful from it. When I develop things, I want users to take away something from it and go, maybe they can apply it later on or, whatever. But for walkthroughs, it's a bit of a different story because it's quite challenging at times because you have to especially with walkthroughs, is that yes, you might know something, like you might know a topic about, I don't know, a specific part of like malware analysis, like dynamic analysis, right? Yes, it's all good you knowing it, but can you explain it to someone else, right? And I think that's a really good litmus test as well to really test your understanding of something, is that if you can break it down, if you can explain it to someone else who doesn't know and they get it, then I think it's a really good reinforcement opportunity. So for walkthroughs, especially at TryHackMe, it's we have planning sessions on like the modules and pathways that we're creating. We get peer reviews on them, and this is things like, what is being seen in the wild, what sort of tools are being used. It's really cool as content engineers. I think we've done the math at some point, and we have like 120 years combined cybersecurity experience. So, we have a lot of people who have seen lots of different things, right? And it's great to get their input on it. Then it's just about conveying that topic clearly and also in an engaging way, right? Because yeah, it's really great if you have like 10 tasks just full of text, but then I mean, I don't like reading personally. I hate it. I prefer doing hands-on, right? So how can you even things like cryptography or like I've done the cyber defense frameworks. How can you make things like the meter framework or, things like that engaging and fun to learn from? Uh, so it has its own creative challenges, but it is good fun.
That's so neat. And you've created, we mentioned this before. I think it's over 90 rooms on TryHackMe, both red team and blue team. I'm just curious, which team is best in your mind? Which is your favorite team to either create rooms for or to go through the labs for? Red team or blue team, and why? We'll see who we can offend in the stream.
Ah, okay, yeah. See, I thought that'd be a tough question. So I think personally, I think through like my studies and just things that I've worked on, blue team for me has been more fun. I think there's a different like I like the investigation part of things, the analysis and reconstructing like a timeline, for example. You might have this host that's breached, okay, where you look for these artifacts and then you figure out, oh, look, well, okay, it's coming from this host, and then you step back a little bit. So I think it's quite fun kind of reverse engineering like an incident, for example. But also, it does feel very good when you get that reverse shell, right? So, yeah, I think red team's definitely the more red team hacker I'm in stuff is definitely fun. I just I think I prefer the blue team in terms of writing detections and stepping back through history and you know it's kind of like putting a jigsaw piece, a jigsaw puzzle together, and yeah, I think it's quite fun.
So I just want to let you know, Tinas over on YouTube said he's offended. So you have to take it with him and battle it out. But I
Yeah.
really like hearing that perspective. Although of course I'm on the red team. Like I do pen testing. That's all I do. I don't do any blue team stuff for my job. No incident response. I just like break stuff and then tell people, hey, I broke your stuff. You should probably fix it yourself. But there's a lot I miss out on as a pen tester without at least being aware of blue team, which is what I love about TryHackMe. It gives me a glimpse into the blue team side of things. But even speaking of careers, and be curious your thoughts on this. When people want to get into IT and you ask them, hey, what do you want to do when you graduate or when you're done with this cert? I swear, like everybody's like, yo, I want to be a hacker because I saw Mr. Robot and that looks sweet. Like I want to figure out how to run those tools and do those things. Everybody wants to be a pen tester, but there's much more roles on the blue team side, and I would even argue the blue team much of the time even pays better than you do as a pen tester. I took a pay cut to go from blue team to pen testing, but I'm also in the States, so I'm curious your perspective on that. You're at TryHackMe, you have more of a global view. What do you think is more in demand, that red team skills or those blue team skills from your perspective?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think, at least in my perspective and sort of what I see, we talk to a lot of like different companies and all over the world and have a lot of like research and stuff. I think generally speaking, blue team skills are more in demand, I would say. I think blue team is a lot more of like a reliable, stable income. I suppose, it's maybe harder to break into red teaming. Uh, Probably less in demand. You probably have a smaller team. So, like, you might have a SOC, for example, who has, a SOC level one, then two, three, and you might have some managers and things like that. Whereas, like maybe like a red teaming department would probably be smaller. You might have one or two who would specialize in certain fields. So, you might have like a mobile app pen tester. You might have a like one or two web app security people, right? It's a lot more, I think, specialized in that sense. And I think it's a bit of a shame, really, because yeah, I agree. Everyone comes out of university or like college or whatever, and they go, "Oh, I see Mr. Robot," or "I've seen like this YouTube video," and it's like earn dollar, dollar, dollar by doing bug bounties or red teaming. And yeah, while that is true for some, it's not true for many.
Mm-hmm.
Especially on the bug bounty part. But I think blue teaming kind of undersells itself a little bit. I think the misnomer with that is, blue teaming is just looking at logs all day and looking through Elastic and going, oh yeah, looking responding to alerts. While that definitely is a part of it, there's so much, with blue teaming that I think just doesn't get marketed that well. And it's those other things that I personally find enjoying, malware analysis, incident response, security engineering, actually implementing the fixes and protection mechanisms, and cloud, right? That's a really exciting topic, and especially in the blue teaming sector. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's so cool. And John Hammond, when I interviewed him, and I know he said this on stream before, like he said his mission is to make blue team sexy again, right? Everybody's talking about red team. He wants to show them the
yes,
value and the fun of like threat hunting and blue team and things like that. But hey, have a question from chat that I think fits in good with this. Ace S or Aces, don't know how to say your name, my friend, but over on YouTube said CMNatic. What's your what about malware analysis is your favorite? You've mentioned this a few times. You created rooms on it. What's your favorite aspect of malware analysis?
Personally, I want to get Blue Team is Sexy printed on a hat. Maybe that's what I'm going to do after this.
You should.
But yeah, so my specific favorite part about malware analysis, I think, is again like the part of the puzzle about it. APTs are getting a lot smarter these days, and I find it really interesting on how they're bypassing maybe some like security mechanisms. Like Windows Defender, things like that. Persistence techniques are getting interesting, but also it feels like you're kind of like playing with a hot potato. I think the risk of that is quite fun as well. In terms of like being in a sandbox and you know just breaking something down and understanding how it works. I think at least me as a person, I find that really interesting. I'm very curious and I like to learn about things, right? And if you can write a report on it or protect some things, I'm no Marcus Hutchins yet, but who knows one day, right?
Yeah, that is cool. And hey, y'all, we have a bunch more questions to go through, but we only have about 20 minutes left on the stream. So I do want to share the giveaway information. So once again, we are giving away, see if I get this all right, 6 1-month premium vouchers to TryHackMe, 1 3-month premium voucher to TryHackMe, and 1 kind of the grand prize 1-year premium subscription to TryHackMe. And only you watching this right now are eligible. So here is how we are going to do it. I have a very secure way called a Google form. So I'm going to grab a link to this Google form. It's only going to be open, y'all, for just a few minutes. So I'm going to drop this in all the platforms real quick. Make sure it goes through. So we dropped it on YouTube. I've dropped it on Twitch, and I'm going to drop it on LinkedIn. I will say, if you're on LinkedIn chat's always buggy. I don't know why half the time I can't see messages, or maybe you can't see mine. So if you didn't see me just drop it and you're watching it on LinkedIn, go to my YouTube. Otherwise, try to refresh it and you might see it. But I dropped a link to the form in all 3 chat platforms. So I'm going to give you all like 8 to 10 minutes. Sign up. All it asks is your email and your Discord name. I'm not going to share your email publicly at all, but we are going to do the drawing live on stream. So I'm going to take all the Discord names, drop them into a thing. We're going to do the drawing, and then we will follow up with you individually in order to pass those vouchers to you. So once again, I dropped that in all 3 platforms. Make sure you get that pulled up, fill it out. Don't complain to me when you miss out. It'll be open for just a few minutes. But all right, back to the interview, Ben. You have a lot going on with TryHackMe. All the different rooms you have created, working for a remote team spread across the globe, different time zones, and you are up at 3 a.m. sometimes, because I know when you're on stream. So I am curious, just for mental health and well-being, how the heck do you balance all of this?
Yeah, that's a really good question. That's a really good question. I think it's an important one to bring up because I think specifically in cybersecurity, it's one of those fields that I don't know, maybe you feel like you're missing out if you're not keeping on top of things outside of work, like recent threats, recent hacks, following the news, new techniques, self-studying. I think especially in our sector, a, it's one of those things that you're kind of expected to do, but actually you're not really given the time to do, right?
Yeah.
So for me personally, um, yeah, but with TryHackMe, yeah, it keeps me super busy. I enjoy it. It keeps me out of trouble. But I think for me personally, just taking time away from a screen is really important, and you know, setting realistic deadlines and expectations, and going right, okay, I've finished my work for the day. That's it. You know, stepping away from it. I think especially it's quite difficult when you're working from home because it's sort of
Mm.
like, your house becomes your office, and the benefit with like commute, yeah, right? The benefit like commuting to work is that, once you leave those doors at the office, that's it. You're done for the week or whatever. So for me, yeah, I value my time off screen. Hobbies are really important. Interests, like I said, volunteering, just things that aren't cybersecurity basically is I think is super important.
That's good. What do you do? Like the off screen time, what are some of your hobbies? You said DJing. Anything else that you just do for fun?
Yeah, yeah. So I do a bit of photography. Well, try to at least, I suppose. I just like catching up with friends and boards, and I think the nice thing about London is that there's always something to do. But yeah, I'm traveling a bit, just doing all sorts of things. I mean, even going for a walk at the end of the day, right? Just a change of scenery, going for a walk around a lake or like in the woods is a nice reset from things when you've spent, you know, 8 hours on a screen, right? Doing some really cool cybersecurity stuff. So, yeah, I just kind of fill my time trying to get into rock climbing. I'm still waiting for my friend to get back to me on that, to teach me the ropes, as it were. But yeah, just lots of little hobbies here and there.
That's so cool. I meant to ask this when you first brought up DJing. You said you do all kinds of different kinds of music. What's your favorite genre? Just out of curiosity.
Ooh. So this might be controversial, but I am drum and bass. Yeah,
Okay.
it's very
Very
big in the UK. Very big in
yeah.
the UK.
I was hoping you were gonna say rap music and that your favorite artist is Papa Shell
Uh,
and your favorite song is the Advent of Cyber rap song. But I'll let that slide. We'll just pretend like you said that. Maybe I'll go back and just edit that in. We'll use like AI to control your voice and
I've,
do it.
uh, I've I've got it as my ringtone if that counts.
Do you
So
really?
you know,
That's
I
amazing.
do. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
It
I'll
is
have to send you a screenshot, but yeah, I do.
it is my kids' like favorite song. I swear, like once a day we rap it. So yesterday I don't know what game my daughter taught me and my son to play, but we had to sing a song while we like clapped each other's hands, and that was a song. So it's like I'm a Papa Shell, and then they go through it and they know the song, like they rap it with me. So that's my it's my claim to fame. Anyone watching this who has not seen the Advent of Cyber rap song, you haven't lived your life yet. So make sure you go to my YouTube
Yeah.
page, find it, and it follows the whole storyline of Advent of Cyber. I'll have to do a part two in the next Advent of Cyber. But okay, I'm going to close the form real quick. I have a few more questions for Ben, but I cannot multitask, so give me just a second. I'm going to grab this form. This is my last chance, y'all. If you haven't filled it out, don't cry to me on Discord when you miss out, because I'm going to close the form if I can figure out how to log into the form. Then I'll close it.
You
Do-do-do.
should have seen the TryHackMe Slack when you dropped that song.
Was it
It was
amazing?
uh it was popping off. Yeah.
All right, the form is no longer accepting responses. So if you missed out, you missed out. That is too bad. You'll just have to listen to my rap song instead and get your anger out there. But okay, let's talk a little bit about the future. This is actually one of the questions people have asked in chat. But looking at cybersecurity trends, as a content engineer, that's a big part of what you do. You're looking at threat actors, what they're doing, how we can emulate it in rooms. So as you look at cybersecurity trends and threats, what are some major ones that you think will shape the future of our industry?
I think a big, I suppose, elephant in the room is AI.
hmm That's the
I,
question people ask in
that,
chat. So I'm glad you
yeah,
brought that up. Yeah, let's talk about it.
definitely can't be ignored. I mean, it's here to stay, right? And it is kind of maybe, growing faster than we can kind of get used to. But I think this ties into like a really nice sort of having a cyber room that I've done for Van Chassis. And, you know, yes, it's really great having AI do everything, but at the end of the day, it's still only as good as the training data it's made up of, right? And having this AI firewall or seam or something like that, yeah, okay, yeah, it's got all those marketing buzzwords in it, so your sales manager would buy it. But it's not perfect. It is going to miss things, right? And I think complacency is a big issue with it as well. AI is super amazing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love AI. I think it's very interesting. I studied machine learning, developed some models for malware analysis. I think it's superb, and I'm really excited to see what we can do with it. But I think, yeah, it's all about training data and defining scope for it as well, right? I
Mm.
mean, that was a really good example of, I think it was like Dodge in the US, where someone managed to get the AI chatbot assistant for Dodge to sign a legally binding contract to sell
Ugh.
them a truck for like $1. It's stuff like that, and I'm like, ah, okay, yeah, quite funny, but also scary.
That's
So I
crazy,
think
dude.
that, yeah, it's actually quite funny. But I think with that Web 3.0, as much as I maybe dislike it, I think that is also still here to stay. When I say that, I mean like cryptocurrencies, things like that. Solana contracts, blockchain technologies. I think that's something that we're going to have to get used to. It is here, right, at the end of the day.
Hmm.
But also, yeah, I think just APTs in general is quite a big threat at the moment, right? I mean, we have loads of ongoing ones that are quite big, and I don't know. It just sucks to see that we have so much great resources out there for cybersecurity, and then we see just something get popped, like a hospital or things like that, and you know, it's preventable, right? So
Yeah.
it makes me think, how can we how can we raise awareness about it and things like that?
Yeah, hey, and a follow-up question on that, even as we hear about APT groups and exploits happening, curious your thoughts on the whole debate around releasing POCs for some of those exploits. I know, like, what TryHackMe
Mm.
has done, and what you've even done personally with a recent CVE, is very quickly after it's disclosed, there are rooms that, like, walk a user through, hey, here's how you actually exploit this, but here's also how you patch it. But where do you see the line of ethics there? Like, are you afraid that a threat actor might use training from TryHackMe to go after a hospital or go after a bank or whatever that is? Like,
Mm.
what are your just overall thoughts on that?
That's a really good question, and I do think about it myself quite a lot. It's like, it's one of those things that, yes, you're teaching with a good heart, like for example, sandbox evasion, right? That is a very legitimate skill to know as like a red teamer, but then ultimately it is sandbox evasion. It is AV evasion, so yeah, there is that dark side to the coin of it. I think at least, from like a try hack me point of view, it's especially with recent threats, you know, we we assess recent threats and we sort of collaborate together and we say, okay, we have some hard no goes, and we have some things that we have like a little like checklist or criteria for it.
Hmm.
And generally speaking, we won't release like proof of concepts or a code or like a room lab unless there has been sufficient time for patches and mitigation techniques, or even you know recommending our own like detection rules. So like we write Yara rules, we write Sigma rules. For us, we're not going to be releasing ODAs.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I think ethics plays a really well. It's more about just like being responsible, right?
Hmm.
We have a big following, and we want to be teaching cybersecurity for good reasons, right? And not be seen as like a platform, or like even from a personal point of view. I don't want to be the person who's like, oh, at the end of the day, I taught this person how to ransomware, or I don't know, get a reverse shell on some company or charity, right? So yeah, for recent threats, CVEs, we wait until sufficient time for patching has been released. We write our own detection rules that we provide, and things like that.
Yeah, that is good, and I think TryHackMe has done a good job of finding that balance. Like, even on the TryHackMe side of things, with those recent threats, at least from my experience, it'll often teach you how to exploit or get initial access, but the rooms don't teach you goal execution, which is kind of that ransomware or exfiltrating sensitive data, which is what those threat actors do. They don't just get initial access, but they're going to cause damage. And I have never done a TryHackMe room that says, all right, now that we have access to it, we're going to simulate a ransomware attack and how you can encrypt all these files and then set up a secure Bitcoin link that they can send you money, right? You're not teaching goal execution, which at least is how it works in my head, but still an interesting question. I know when I was talking to John Hammond, he said it first came up when I think it was a print nightmare exploit that he had on GitHub, and an organization called him like, yo, your name is in our logs. Like, a threat actor used his exploit to pwn an organization and to do ransomware. So that was like a tough moment for him to think through some of the ethical implications I don't think we always talk about. But Excellent
Yeah, I
stuff.
think I think it's obviously really cool to be the first and be like the pioneers for it. But I think it's really important that we consider actually what is the impact of what we're doing,
Hmm.
right? I think it's super important, even from like a personal point of view or as a company.
Yeah, that is good. All right, well, we are at about the end of the stream, which means, drum roll, I don't have any sound effects, but it is time for the giveaway. Once again, we are giving away 6 1-month TryHackMe premium vouchers, 1 3-month premium TryHackMe voucher, and the grand prize 1-year premium TryHackMe voucher. And so I'm going to pull this over. Ben, you won't see this unless you pull up the stream because it's on our screen in front of us. I'll make it so they can still see your face there. Now everybody is looking at you and not me. But I just pulled up my wheel of colors and I grabbed everybody's Discord names, although someone dropped an email in there. I'll just scroll up. But everybody's Discord names and entered. And we are going to spin the wheel of colors. You can see I entered in twice because I'm going to obviously cheat. That was just during testing. But we'll spin the wheel of colors. First, we'll do the 6 1-month vouchers. I'm actually going to get something pulled up here. Maybe I'll just drop it right here. Yeah, I can type there. Okay, here we go. This first drawing is for a 1-month premium voucher to TryHackMe. Let's spin the wheel. The wheel is spinning. Who's the winner? Do-do-do. All right, so Thibault, don't know if I'm saying your name right, but hey, if you're in chat, which you must be because you entered during the live stream, congratulations, you won one of the 1-month premium vouchers. We'll go ahead and spin the wheel again, and we'll see who the second winner is. Second winner is Hey FDG, so congratulations to you. I'll drop you in there. Let's spin again. Another 1-month premium voucher. Get a taste of what TryHackMe Premium is like. And MyTesh72925, you are the next winner. The cool thing about this is we have so many vouchers. Usually I only have like 3 that we can give away, but a lot of people are going to win today. So that's exciting. .ACT02. And once again, for the winners, we will follow up with you via email. And if you don't get back to us within like a week, we're just going to choose a new person. So make sure you respond to me when I email you later today. Hey, you pseudo veggies, I know you. Congratulations. You got the 1-month voucher. So we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more winner for the 1-month voucher, and then we'll do the 3-month voucher. The last winner for a 1-month voucher is Ghostman9393. Is that 6? Yep, it is. So now we are going to do a drawing for the 3-month voucher, premium voucher. So we'll spin the wheel. And the winner is Wizar, if I'm saying that correct. Congratulations, you get the 3-month voucher. And then the final drawing, this is the grand prize, 1-year subscription to TryHackMe Premium. Let's spin the wheel. And the winner of the 1-year voucher is Znur. I have no idea how to say your name. It's like Snore, but with a Z. Znur11. You are the winner of the 1-year subscription to TryHackMe. So I just messed up Discord. There we go. Want to say congratulations to all the winners. I will be following up with you. I do have to get back to my real job after my lunch break is over right here. But I will email you tonight. And just please get back to me within a week. If you don't get back to me, we are going to choose a different winner. But congratulations to all the winners. And hey, want to say thank you to everyone who joined us for the live stream. I think we had well over like 140 people across the 3 different platforms consistently the entire time. So thank you for hanging out. Hope y'all learned something. And hey, Ben, man, thank you for taking the time to hang out with us and chat about life and TryHackMe.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been good fun. I think I probably could talk for hours. So
Absolutely.
no, I appreciate it.
Cool, fun stuff. Well, hey, y'all, for the rest of you, I'm going to sign off. So for those of you watching on the stream, thank you again for being here. I will see you in the next one.